Saturday, Saturday. Hello there, everybody. Saturday night. It's all right for fighting, but I'm a lover, not a fighter. I didn't say I was a good lover. I just, lover. A, B, C, D, D. S. Anyway, summer has returned here. It's 62 degrees. I think we're going to have a warmer September than we did August, I think. But I'm not really sure. Neo was first. Hey, Neo Neon. How are you? Heather. Hi, Jack. Miles Wright. Hi, Jack and everyone. Patrick Wilburn. Good evening, everyone. All our regular family members here. Mary Ann Rossi, not Donna Rossi. Hope you're stronger each and every day. Are you feeling stronger every day? 1974 by Chicago. I used to practice with that song in the Connecticut School of Broadcasting studio. It's great to talk up. It's great to come out of. But when you come out of, they said, don't backsell a lot. Don't tell them. First of all, years later, when you're on oldies radio, they pretty much know the song, So you really don't have to say, here's the Beatles, because they already know that. Amanda Phillips, huh? No, I combined two names. Karen Phillips, hi, Jack and all. Amanda Moseni is here. Hello, Jack. Hi, Amanda. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Worldwide Ramblings. I want to keep asking people where they're from when they've told me before. It's just very hard to store it all in because I think I have to clean out my head. I have to erase some files. That would probably be a good idea, Joey Bauer Jr. Hey, brother. Very happy to see you. Well, I'm happy to see your name. I can't really see you. Where are you again there, Joey? Sure you've told me. June Joyner. Hello, Jack and everyone. Homer Overcash. June Joyner and Homer have been here many times before, but it's been a while, Homer. Hello, Jack. I'm back finally. Where'd you go? We thought maybe you stepped out for a beer or something. You can't tell me it was hunting season. Not yet. Those deer are elusive creatures, aren't they? Ron White bit, about his friends calling him a you-know-what for not wanting to be out there at 4 o'clock in the morning standing in a tree stand or crouching in a tree stand. He says, oh, yeah, they're elusive creatures. I hit one with a van once. Got a good lab report yesterday. How does that transfer to strengthen your legs? A good lab report is always good, though. Don't get me wrong. Cheryl Chambers, howdy, y'all. Welcome, Cheryl. I hear from you from time to time. Teresa Pinnell, it just sounds like it's got flair. I'm not talking about Ric Flair, the wrestler, because only Neo would know about Ric Flair. I bet you do, Neo. I bet you do. Elaine Peterson, hi, Jack and family. Welcome, Elaine. And isn't it funny, your names are often close together. Helen McDonald, hi, Jack, and all from Australia. Yes. I don't know if we have our Jackie Organ yet, and if you have talked to her too much, but she's also from the land down under. Or is it down under? Or is it? I'll ask Fancy Nancy DeMarco, is it? Hello, Jack and friends. What's going on with you? Rick Robinson, all familiar names to me. Howdy, Jack. And no beer here. Don't hunt except with the car about 3:30 a.m. Oh, is that when you do your serial killing? You hunt at 3:30 a.m.? What are you looking for, Homer? What are you looking for at 3:30 a.m.? Hot donuts? Because the donut shop is about to open, huh? Yeah? That's what Todd Bradshaw does. Well, I think so. Yeah. If you go in there just at the right time, hot donuts. Iowa. Maybe I can meet you one day. That would be great. Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you, Joey. I don't know if I'll be out Iowa way. I want to do more traveling. I have to. I have to get Karen well first, and definitely want to go out to Texas. That's a must. And we'll see what happens in 2026. We didn't get to Maine. That's always a favorite place to go to, you know. Too bad they have a governor that just does not reflect the past history and the wonderfulness of the state. Oh, she looks like a older Maine native, but her values don't line up, if you ask me. I guess there's been purple spots of Maine for a while, but I just think about how she was during COVID, how heavy-handed she was. I think about how disrespectful she is to the president. I think about her craziness wanting to have boys in the girls' locker room, men ruining women's sports, and Maine deserves better than her. That's all I can say. That's my personal feeling, you know. Um, Rick is in East Texas. East Texas. There's my lack of geography coming into play there. I wouldn't know when I was in East Texas. um, Amanda is in the United Kingdom. So, what do you think of this Nigel Farage, Amanda? He seems to me like a wonderful man. And I wonder if they're going to try to put him in jail while he's campaigning for the prime minister spot. I always thought it was okay to be frank in United Kingdom and say what comes to mind, because I used to watch those sessions of your what the heck do you call it now? you know, your version of Congress, um, Senate. Um, I used to watch them. I especially enjoyed it when Tony Blair was your prime minister, and people would just throw barbs back and forth. See, I knew you'd know all these people. Neo Neon, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper. Yeah. The Sheik, I don't know. Hulk Hogan, just still not over him. Andre the Giant, wonderful man. Um, and, it's a rough sport, whether you say, oh, it's not all authentic. It's a very physical sport, and you can get injured big time, as the Hulk did many, many times. So, would you say, Amanda, that free speech is under attack in the United Kingdom? I'm not sure if you're in Britain, London, Liverpool. What else do I know? What other places do I know in England? But this Nigel seems to be the cure, I think. He's been on American television a lot lately, talking. And he had to deal with the likes of, oh, come on. There's so many of them that are repulsive. I know who I'm trying to say, the guy who got cured from cancer, which we're happy for. He was wearing a kerchief for a long time. I know who this is. I hate when I can't just pull it out of my head, but how can these people in the Senate and Congress be so wrong all the time? It's just unbelievable. They always have a incorrect take on things, even if they do feel that, say, Anthony Fauci has been mislabeled and what have you. They always line up somewhere between the truth and a lie, and they can't understand why people don't want to go along with their ideas. So Bobby Kennedy had his hands full, and he comes right back. He's not going to sit there and take that, from some congresswoman no one's ever heard of who's calling him a charlatan. You know, she, she doesn't seem like Einstein herself, you know. Trained choreographed stunt show. Yeah. Um, I'm not surprised to hear you say that. I think that's what most people feel. So you don't think there's any legitimate, um, actual just strength that's holding somebody down? You think they're always thinking about, hey, we're putting on a show here and we've got to make this look really good? Um, do you think anyone ever wins a match, or is it just, as you say, a trained, choreographed stunt show? Teresa Lee Leonard, hello, 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 Jack and family. Marianne Rossi, I'm having exercise physiology to strengthen my legs after a back injury. Seems to be working. What does that involve, Helen? What do you have to actually do? He has been holding the line. Very proud of RFK Jr. Yeah, I don't think he's always right about everything, but they always try to say, oh, he's trying to take away all vaccines, and he's not, but he's also trying to provide information and past statistics that show that we've got a lot of misconceptions when it comes to these things. You know, kids getting vaccines and things like that. They're always trying to say, oh, the new strain of COVID this fall is going to be really bad, really bad. And it sends especially older people to the CVS to get the vaccine. Exercises at the gym supervised by a physiotherapist. Okay. Thing is that eventually, I don't know how your insurance is, but these things start to really mount up. So often what somebody tries to do is they try to learn the exercises in the first week of PT and then do them at home because they can't afford the 3 times a week, 4 times a week tops, I guess, with a PT trainer. Takes a lot of skill to pull it off. Plus sometimes mistakes happen, that's for sure. Plus tempers can flare. Real injuries. We know about that. Hoke got injured a lot. And some people say that contributed to his demise. But also they're saying a surgeon might have tore something in there while they were doing what? His neck surgery? Yeah, his neck surgery. He might have tore something. So I think his widow is suing. That's the plan. That's the plan. So we thank Neo for his CGI work, which you enjoyed in the promo, and you may enjoy in this video too when you see the thumbnail for this video, for this live show. So Neo really knows how to use a computer and gave us some beautiful future thumbnails, and one is already up in the promo. So thank you. Thank you, Sammy, who just shows up out of the blue as the encourager. 279. I thought you were going to say, where is Sydney Sweeney? Where is Elvis? Well, I don't know. We only know, I was going to say the wrong thing. That would be wrong if I said we only know on Sunday. Oh, no. I take it all back. By the way, what's up with Matt Joyce? When is this show coming? They didn't change their mind, did they? Let me go to bobjoyce.org. I should know this already. I forgot to check. Yes, they're supposed to have a 2 p.m. tamales and tribute to Elvis show. Is that still going to happen? Well, they've got the rest of the music service up now from, because it didn't come up right away, recorded during the weekly worship service. Yeah, on August 31st. This was the first show at the new church. Audio difficulties are being tested before next week. Yeah, it's a tough road. I wouldn't want that job. You really have to be gifted to deal with all this because it's ever expanding. And they have a switcher now with multi cameras, right? So there you go, and that's very good news. Um, so they show a picture. See now, this is not what I saw. I only saw Pastor Bob Joyce singing "Give Me Jesus." Here they are singing "Holy, Holy, Holy." Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty. I know that song. I know that song. And three ladies, they have microphones that they're holding up. So hopefully we're going to get to hear them, and Pastor Bob should give them their due. In other words, he should stop singing sometimes. There's a part in there for the backup singers. Yeah, they talk about the baptism. Pastor Bob, I tell you, no pastor baptizing someone in a creek ever had hair that looked better than that. He definitely was going to be sure not to get that hair wet. And the ready to go forward sermon. Very, very good. New church location, of course, is at 8408 Samples Road in Benton, Arkansas, 72019. If you want to write. And 10 a.m. Central Time, but get there early. They open the gate, I understand, at 7:30. I would say, especially if you're coming from a long distance, remember they let the regular members in through a different door. Excuse me, before you get in. So keep that in mind. That's about 25% of who's going to be there. So there's a number of seats, but not an overflow room unless something has changed here, and I don't see that it has. So you got to get there early, line up at the gate at 7:30. That's what's going to be happening. And then immediately get out of your car. If it looks bad and there's a stampede, you know how to put your foot out as someone is running, don't you? You remember that from the playground. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. So that's a much nicer picture there, and hope to get to hear those ladies sing. Hope I didn't chase away the guy. Where is he? Now I feel bad. Oh dear. Oh dear. Because I never heard him sing. He could be a terrific singer. I have no idea. Never heard a note. Anyway, so that's the deal there. I don't see anything about Matt Joyce's Elvis tribute show, supposed to be once a month at 2:00 in the afternoon. Does anybody know anything about that? Does anything know when's the first one? Are they still going to do that? Obviously, the baptism kind of preempted him last week. It preempted him. Here's Brenda Sweeney, mom of Sydney Sweeney. How are you, Brenda? If I miss your comment, it's not intentional. Most of you are talking to each other, and that's a real thing here. Hey, Gloria Drummond. Again, thank you, Sammy, for hitting the thanks button right down there for $2.79. Any amount is good. 99 cents, $1.99, or $1,000 for you that have been blessed. But I would use Cash App if it's going to be that kind of money, because that's the way to go. I'll be giving that out later. Elaine, I always confuse you two. It's like because your names are close. Elaine Peterson has already hit the Cash App. We'll tell you about that. And from last week, Tim Spencer did. Tim Spencer That came in late, so I never got to announce it. Tim Spencer. I don't know if you're here yet, Tim. Their new barn looks really good. I don't think we're going to get to see too much of it, though, right? The camera's not going to pan out into the congregation, is my feeling, and that's a shame. I'd like to get a shot of that. Gloria Drummond, Jesus is the answer, is the only answer. Hello, Jack and everyone. Blessings. Gloria has her own YouTube channel right here, and I think you probably know I was looking at it. I saw a couple of your videos, or at least part of a couple of your videos, and you're kind of low tech like me, so we both got to get tech people. That's what we need. We need real-time tech people. During the show, tech people. But you've got a nice speaking voice, and you've obviously got a gift there. And so check out Gloria Drummond's channel. Jesus is the only answer. And you'll be able to see her work. It's funny, ever since I talk about JCat, which turns out to be one of the stars of TikTok. I mean, she gets big views. She hasn't been here since, at least not that I know of. And I wanted to compliment her and everything and say good things, and even maybe have her call in, because she's a fireball. She's a fireball. And but all of a sudden she's harder to find than Kamala Harris at I'm trying to come up with something witty on the spot. Kamala Harris the day of the lie detector test. Nowhere to be found. Oh, look at this. Miles Wright hits the thanks button in a nice yeller for $9.99. Thank you so much, Miles Wright. Thank you. Sammy came back with $6.99. He is talking about Pastor Elvis. I thought Elvis fake. What am I trying to say here? I'm pretty sure Elvis faked his death in 1977. That I'm pretty sure of. But a pastor, really? Oh, that's interesting. That's what Priscilla said we would be, right? And then she said Elvis said that just the other day. Wasn't talking about the pastor thing, but really, how did Elvis say that just the other day? I don't think they had a seance. That was for Dark Shadows. I don't think Priscilla would have a seance. Priscilla, maybe you're watching. Come on, I'll give you a phone number to call. You can call in live, and I will make sure everybody's nice to you. I won't read it if it's not nice. Your sister, howdy, all fans. Huh. Nancy, and in memoriam, Terry Whitmore is here. So thank you, Sammy, for $6.99 on the thanks button. And certainly thank you, Miles Wright, husband of Judy Wright, for $9.99. I am my only tech person. So how good are you, Neo? How good are you? In a live stream, could you put video in a live stream that was going on? Could you be that kind of tech person? My 82-year-old daddy is named Jackson. Yes, Jack. I've been called Jackson a lot of times. Let's see. A few of the officers at Camp LaGuardia called me Jackson. Who used to call me Jackson the most? I've definitely heard that. You're not an old yeller, though. You probably never saw that movie, did you? Neo's favorite movie is Ghostbusters 2. I saw the movie and I don't remember the character, and he's a character I should really remember. You can say his name again. I'll never be able to rattle it off. Kamala and Hillary have similar laughs, I suppose. Both fake laughs, right? Brenda Noyce. How you feeling, Brenda Noyce? What's going on with you? She's speaking to Gloria Drummond. Okay. And yes, Old Yeller. Ah, that was so sad, that movie at the end. I was just a little boy when I saw that. I was. Pam Donnelly is here? Really? I missed that one. Where is Miss Nonstick Pam anyway? What's been going on with you, Patrick Wilburn, huh? What's going on in the world of Patrick Wilburn? Diamond Dance Studio. Where is your dance studio located? Yeah, I know. And it hurts us, Gloria. It hurts us, you know. But, if you were listening to the Sean Hannity radio show, you wouldn't see any video. I'm going to play some Victor Davis Hansen a little bit later because I thought instead of trying to um, relay what he said, let the man say it himself as I lead into the topic of, I have originally called it Reality Rant, and then I renamed it Reality versus, where the heck is my notes? Things just disappear. Reality as opposed to the way it really is, something like that. Faith Lloyd is here. Not sure about live videos, but have stuck pictures, audio, and videos into pre-recorded. Good to know. Good to know. I just watched a little bit of Wings of Pegasus before I came on. He was going to analyze. I guess he might have done this tonight, or maybe it was the earlier in the week show. Analyzed Paul McCartney's voice from 1964 through 1968 to see if it was the same guy or did Paul McCartney really die. I did a video on that. Is Paul McCartney really dead? Which is on Tubi. I did a video on that just because there were a lot of twists and turns in the story, and I thought it was a good story. I didn't endorse the story, I didn't endorse the story. And with Pastor Bob Joyce, I speak of possibilities. I could be wrong about the whole thing. But when you get to those 8, 9 dozen coincidences, my goodness, here's Hockey 92. Thank you, Jack, and wishing Karen continued recovery. Appreciate that so much. She's still got the pain. There's a lot of healing to be done, and she's going through that. We just don't know how it's going to be when all is said and done yet. Sometimes she does feel a little bit better, but it's too early to tell what the overall picture will be. Then she's got lower back pain and she's got foot pain, she's just has so many things. I wondered about Paul too. Yeah, there are a lot of twists and turns in the story. So I'm going to see what Wings of Pegasus says about it. There are 4 Beatles and 1 Beatle on the Abbey Road image. There are 4 Beatles and 1 Beatle on the Abbey Road image. What the heck does that mean? Is they're walking in the street. One is dressed as Undertaker. One is dressed in their church suit. One is dressed as a preacher. Or is that the Undertaker? I get confused. Paul is not wearing shoes. And in England, I'm told that when they bury you, you have no shoes on. But who would ever know? Why would you have shoes on when you think about it? I have pain every day, everywhere. Everywhere? See, a lot of people have this chronic pain thing, and they get procedures and they get surgeries, and it never really gets them anywhere near pain free. Never seems to. So, thank you, Hockey 92. Thank you, Jack, and wishing Karen continued recovery. I will keep you informed as time goes on. Joe Chavez, Pastor Bob has Pastor Elvis's laugh, by the way. People have said that, yeah. See, those things I don't focus on enough. I'm not a scars and veins kind of guy, but yeah, people have told me the same thing. So it's the thanks button tonight that our people are hitting that you see right there, and I appreciate that very much. It all helps, when the grand total comes up, it all helps. I go to my email and I see Tammy with an eye. I wasn't even sure you were here yet. Yes, she has a graphic for Tammy with an eye. Sent you $10 for praying that Karen is doing well. Well, we did go out yesterday, spent an hour at the last free Friday concert of the year. The group is called Soul Sense, which makes you think they're going to be older, and you're going to hear, maybe some upbeat Motown and stuff like that. But no, they started off with they tried a certain amount of trying to honor the name that they chose, because they started off, and I've never heard anybody do this song live, with Feel Like Making Love. No, not the Bad Company song. That would have been cool. But the Roberta Flack song, which I used to play on the radio. It's been a long time since I've heard it. It's a good song. Roberta Flack was great. And so that, and then they went into some Mary Jane Blige, I'm not going to know that. The female vocalist that was with them was not the regular female vocalist. She was filling in. So you have to wonder where the female vocalist was, because usually when something like that happens, the fill-in is going to be very limited of how much she can learn from what the band does. So it's going to cut down the possibilities, and maybe some of the band's best stuff you're never going to hear because the fill-in vocalist never learned it. They only had so much time, But she was okay. She was pretty good. And she did, so we're going to do some Stevie Wonder. Well, there's a lot of Stevie Wonder songs I'd like to hear. Isn't She Lovely is kind of played out like Sir Duke from Songs in the Key of Life. The earlier stuff I would have went for. But she's not going to sing for once in my life. I realize that. Anyway, thank you, Tammy. $10 on the Cash App. And Elaine Peterson, $10 on the Cash App. And look at that. June Joyner, $30 on the Cash App. My Cash App handle, should you have that and want to use Cash App, and I'm just going to breeze by this and go on. But there's always new people and what have you, or people that need to be reminded. And that is lowercase letters, Media Guy 56. The number is 56. MEDIAGUY 56. Lowercase letters. It's funny as I look at real time happenings. As you guys sent me money, my site guy took money. Only $12.14 though. So not too bad, because I just had a visit with him on Friday. His name is Yu, and he's a cool guy. We both decided that I'm good with the Xanax right now. I only use it kind of as a sleeping pill, but I do have access to take another pill during the day should I have unexpected, off the charts anxiety, which I don't usually have, you know. It's just when there's these wild things like having to be at a hospital at 5:30 in the morning. That would be an anxiety time, you know. Um, so thank you very, very much, guys. I appreciate that. And I certainly appreciate those using the thanks button tonight as well. I get more of it when you use Cash App. But very thankful, though, to Google for the thanks button. I get a good portion of that, too, and I appreciate it. One of my pictures fell down. No, they don't want to stay on these levers usually. On these shelves, these whatever I'm trying to say. Let me see. It always seems one of these or two of these falls down during the show. I can't figure that out. I said I can't figure that out. Victoria Winters. We're watching for like the fourth time, and we just got to. I think we've got one more episode, and that'll be the last episode for Alexandra Molka, who played Victoria Winters. She was pregnant and wanted to leave the show at that point. Just gotten married. So all the same names here, all the same names. And thank you again, Sam Sammy. Thank you, Hockey 92.7 FM. Thank you so much for hitting the thanks button, Miles Wright. Let's go down to the bottom here. Robin Roman. Once I saw Stevie Wonder in concert. I did too, and noticed that he was lip syncing. How long ago was that? I think that may have been attributed to the Denver altitude, but I noticed anyway. Yeah, you hate to see that happen. I think that's what you get with Frankie Valli these days. That's what you get. He might sing a little bit here and there, but he's ready to stop, and he isn't stopping, and that gets to be. There are no winners in that. There are no winners. He certainly doesn't need the money. Maybe he thinks, well, my boys do. The Four Seasons need the money still. Blaine Harold. Hello, Blaine Harold. Sorry, got on a little late. I had to watch the begin. I'll have to watch the beginning tomorrow. Been working on little stuff around the garage. Cool. I have never been able to say that anything like that since I have no ability for those kind of things whatsoever. Hi, Rita. I'm not going to say the usual thing. I'm sure you're sick of it. Hi, Jack and everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Darlene Koberstein. Hi. And Sandra Fair. Yeah. Here comes the Tennessee Titan, Mr. Todd Bradshaw. He's here as well. And welcome, Todd Bradshaw. If you're sick of me doing that once in a while, just tell me in an email. By the way, Stevie Wonder isn't completely blind, but still legally blind. So he can see shadows. Can he make out forms and that kind of thing? I've never really heard anybody talk about the degree of his blindness before. Yeah. We have 65 people watching right now, 26 likes. Please hit the like button and the notification bell. Good to see you, Todd. Is it cooling down in Tennessee? It fluctuates here. We had a warm day yesterday, but it's dropping now. It's dropping now. But I think overall we're going to have so far it looks like a warmer than usual fall, which we had a few years ago. It was so warm that the leaves weren't turning, Some trees, they just turn, I swear, but others hang in there. It's a rainy night here in Georgia. No, in Somerset, Kentucky. Blaine, does it feel like it's raining all over the world? All over the world. Love that song. Brenda's saying good night already. Good night, Brenda. Hope you're okay. Hope you're okay. Hello, Jack, and evening all, says Todd. Yes, it's calmed down. Bad weather here in Tennessee. Thanks for asking. Yeah, we've had some bad weather here in parts of New York, high winds and that kind of thing. So definitely happening. So in the headline, I'm talking about the Bob Joyce critics. Why would I even do this? Because we don't get these kind of harsh criticisms often, but someone will come on like GHINES said, and was saying that, I'm just leading people on, and I don't believe any of this story myself. I know it's not true. I think he said that. If not, someone else said that, and that I'm just I'm just engaged in baiting people, and this is silly. Most of the people that come to this channel already knew about the Bob Joyce story, and had already formed their opinion. So the reason they were attracted here is because they know I talk about the Bob Joyce topic, and that I say I speak of possibilities. I could be wrong about the whole thing. We've said that on and on again. Don't confuse the Bob Joyce topic with people that love the live streams or but mostly the worldwide ramblings that we do a couple of times a week. They don't just come on here for a Bob Joyce fix. They come on for to mingle with each other, and those people often hit the thanks button or what have you. So it's silly to think that I have some agenda. Obviously, all programmers are hoping that they can make some kind of a living out of here. When I looked at Wings of Pegasus and his Paul McCartney video, he's got 389,000 views. Well, he doesn't have to ask, because out of those 389,000 views, he gets he gets paid per 1,000 views 389 times. So he does. I'm really astonished that there are. Now, with a Paul McCartney thing, I get it, but sometimes it's not that much of a headline topic, and he still does very well. So there's a lot of musicians out there that follow him, and they really want to talk. I don't know anything about the notes and the chords and what have you. I played the songs on the radio. I didn't know anything. I don't know the difference between a C and an E, that kind of thing. Joel Knight, I think you're new. Talking to Todd Bradshaw, you had no bad weather up your way today? Just rain like here in Northwest Georgia? Northwest Georgia. Georgia can have some bad weather, really can. Stevie has joked about including sitting in the driver's seat for a carpool karaoke, only while parked, though. Yeah. since his sight is either almost non-existent or completely non-existent, whatever the story may be, he's very sensitive to sound. So he does not like people talking. I don't know if those of you who have seen Stevie live have had this experience, but 9 times out of 10, at some point in the concert, he's going to put a smile on his face and say, "Could you please relax your lips? Could you please relax your lips?" Um, I saw him at Madison Square Garden, and he was phenomenally great. Um, when are you coming to see us in Oz? I don't even have the enhanced driver's license, much less a passport. I'm, the money we do make here basically helps me to cover my bills, and gives me hopefully a little bit of travel money for places like Maine and Texas, maybe Arkansas, and places like that. I would love to be, well, I say I'd love to be an international traveler. There's only a few places that I would really want to go. I suppose Australia is on that list. Italy is on that list. We have friends. I wonder if Irish is here from Waterford. I've got something to show Irish, but I don't know when to do it. Where's my phone? Oh, here, right here. Because our friend Christine and her son are in Ireland right now as I speak. And guess where they went a couple of days ago? They're mostly in Dublin, but they went to Waterford. And I thought, oh, this is too rich. Then I'll get back to the Bob Joyce topic. Oh, that's right. Karen sent me that. Here is Christine's son, whose name we're trying to think of. We just can't get it at the moment. At the Waterford Arms. Irish, who always says that she is checking in from Waterford. The Waterford Arms in Ireland. There you go. Glad you found it. We are glad Joel Knight found it. Are you any relation to Christopher Knight? Carol Mullins, my opinion is if you don't want to hear about Bob Joyce or Elvis, don't listen, but don't try to burst someone else's bubble. This format may be the only time some folks have a kind word all day. Yeah. We do a whole bunch of topics here too. Hey, here's Marty Greco. Marty, have you been safe all summer? You've been extra careful and all that. How's your job doing? Good to have you aboard here. Do you do 40 hours or less or more? Golden Star of the Sky Consort of Isles? Oh, I hope you're not saying ISIS. Have a good day. Okay. All good, Jackie Organ. Thank you. They're the two Aussies are visiting. Okay, so with the critics, some critics go on various sites, and some of them do believe that Bob is Elvis, for example, but they feel it's their mission to play it down, to even deny it in some cases. I'm talking about whoever the people are, no specific person because I wouldn't know. But you know, when people are here for a good while and then one day they try to make it sound. I mean, I have said this and I'll say it again. A 16-year-old at McDonald's doing a 40-hour week makes more money in a month than way more money in a month than I make here. This is just, extra income to try to close the gap in a retirement that got smaller when something out of the blue came and bit me, so to speak, because I didn't pay attention to the fine print. Neither did they. And then all of a sudden, boom. And I've got to try to deal with that and still pay my credit cards. And that part has been hard, that part has been hard. Less than 40. That's all I want. Yeah. I work about 25 to 30 hours a week. That's right. You're semi-retired. My retirement makes up for the rest. Exactly. This is your gravy money, right? This is, in some cases, this is my gravy money. Anytime we do go anywhere, we try to do it in the cheapest form. We don't stay at 5-star hotels. We stay at cheap motels, that kind of thing. I'm always looking for the right deal. You're not going to be in the room that much. You want a clean, comfortable room. You don't need it to be grand because you're not going to come and just watch TV in the room all day. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind a suite once, but it's not going to happen. Next summer, we're supposed to go to Wildwood, New Jersey with our friends Polka Sean and Polka Norma. And I've never been to Wildwood, New Jersey. And everybody from around here in this town, especially people that have been here for a lot of years, have been to Wildwood, but we never have. So we're going to do it and, see what it's all about there. Everybody seems to love Wildwood, New Jersey. Red Wing is here. Hello, Jack and everyone. Talking to Andrea as well. Hello, Andrea, wherever you may be. So that's really all I have to say about the critics, most people know, and since I don't get a lot of this, it probably is best not to mention it. But there's always going to be that person that suddenly feels the need to do that and try to, demean and if they could destroy what you're doing, which is just having a family chat here. And I always try when there's something positive to say in the Bob Joyce story, when there's something to promote, I try to do that. So also we were talking about a reality rant. Well, I don't know if I'll be ranting. There is a wonderful idea that wouldn't it be great if we could all just come together as brothers and sisters and I say my point of view and you say yours and we come together. That is impossible. The Bible says it's impossible. We've never been further apart. We're headed toward a revolution. What is supposed to happen in the last days is happening. And nobody understands exactly where we are at better in terms of what's happening politically than one of the smartest guys on the planet. And that is Victor Davis Hansen. So let's go to the professor himself. The name of the video, this is just a fair use excerpt, is "The Left is Gearing Up Against Trump's Counter-Revolution." They thought they were going to bring the revolution, and violence, I think, is part of, well, we know, we hear the threats, we see what's going on in their actions. So let's hear what Victor has to say.
We're watching the greatest counter-revolution in some 90 years. We have not seen any president try to radically change the political calculus and the nature of government since FDR did it during the New Deal. Donald Trump is winning on all of these social and cultural issues. People are angry about this counter-revolution for two reasons. It's succeeding, and it's succeeding beyond anybody's wild expectation because it's working. There's another reason why they're angry. We're going to see in the next year a frenzy, a frantic, almost out of mind reaction from the left. Brace yourself. We're looking at the resistance coming up to the counter-revolution, and it's going to be fierce and unhinged. Hello, this is Victor Davis Hansen for the Daily Signal. We're watching the greatest counter-revolution in some 90 years. We have not seen any president try to radically change the political calculus and the nature of government since FDR did it from the left during the New Deal of the mid-1930s. What do I mean by that? Donald Trump closed the border. If nobody thought he could, he closed it. He has now deported over 100,000 criminal illegal aliens, and 1 million have self-deported of all statuses who were here illegally. He's basically declared war on DEI, and he's winning that argument. He has barred biological males from competing in women's sports. He has full public support for doing that, and he's making enormous inroads. The universities are rushing and competing with each other to cut a deal with Donald Trump and to agree to not gouge the federal government on federal grants through their surcharges of way over 40 or 50%. To follow civil rights legislation in the Supreme Court and not discriminate by race or gender as they do in admissions, hiring, promotion, tenure, and to be disinterested and be fair and follow, as I said, free speech canons and the Bill of Rights on campus. What am I getting at? This isn't that Donald Trump is winning on all of these social and cultural issues. Abroad, we see that Iran no longer poses a nuclear threat for the immediate future, that Israel's enemies, whether Hezbollah or Hamas or Houthis, are in disarray or are severely attrited. Iran is no longer a threat to the Gulf states or Israel, at least for the immediate future. And we see some progress with the Ukrainian war. People are angry about this counter-revolution for two reasons. It's succeeding, and it's succeeding beyond anybody's wild expectation. Naysayers, the Wall Street Journal news page, said we would be in a recession now. The tariffs would cause a trade war. We would see the stock market collapse. The opposite has happened. $15 trillion of foreign investment promised and $300 billion in tariff revenue anticipated. We don't know the eventual effects of these new tariffs, but for now, all of our economists who predicted gloom and doom were wrong. All of our cultural critics who said the universities would be destroyed by Donald Trump, that he would arrest innocent people who just happened to forget to get a visa, he wouldn't go after criminals, they are wrong too. So people are angry about this counter-revolution because it's working. But there's another reason why they're angry. He's not addressing the symptoms as he did in the first administration. He doesn't have people around him as he did in the first administration. A Rex Tillerson, a Bill Barr, a good man, but a Bill Barr was not on the MAGA agenda. Jim Mattis, people like Anonymous, Omaroso, all of these people who thought that they knew better than Donald Trump, and they would either stop what he was trying to do or reinterpret what he was trying to do. In other words, he has a team that is devoted to his counter-revolution and, more importantly, to the symptoms of the progressive project. The symptoms of the progressive project are not just the Democrats exercising power in Congress or holding the White House. It's how they get that power. And they get that power through PBS and NPR, now defunded. Cable news and slanted network news now under assault when they lie and defame and face court ramifications. The universities that indoctrinate people now facing large fines, tax on their endowments, a renewed way of a new government attention toward student loans, $1.7 trillion program, surcharges, as I said, and segregation on campus in dorms, graduation ceremonies.
There he is. Victor Davis Hansen, one of the smartest people on the planet. The left is gearing up against Trump's counter revolution is the name of the video. His broadcast, The Daily Signal. Make sure you subscribe to that right here on YouTube, He says it all, and he says it in a way that is crystal clear. So God bless people like him. I'm afraid that people like Tucker, who I have loved so much in the past, and even Candace Owens, they are going into fringe topics because especially with Candace, she's got to get those clicks. You know, she's broadcasting from her basement, and she's got to get those million clicks, or she's going to feel that bite in her pocketbook. So she doesn't have Fox News anymore promoting her. She's not on there. I haven't seen her on there anyway since Tucker left. So sometimes it seems like what Tucker has gone from being the outstanding number one guy to just another person in the mix, even though he does fairly well. These hour and 20-minute long interviews are just not the same of impact wise for as many people as when he was on a network with people just hitting the clicker. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for Tucker Carlson. It's a real loss not to have that, because many people like myself thought the best part of his show was the first 15 minutes, the monologue. And now we just get into fringe things that go on forever. And it's going to not hold the attention of as many people, not as many people. And then we find more and more he seems to go into topics, whether it be the situation with Israel, Zionism versus being a religious Jew, that kind of thing. And it turns people off. And I think, you're straddling the line of not sounding racist, trying to say there's a big difference between Zionism and the state of Israel, even though you disagree with everything the prime minister seems to be doing. They were saying that more food has come into Gaza in the last couple of years than ever had before, but it's being stolen by Hamas and what have you. And it is obvious that Hamas has to be completely eliminated. Hezbollah eliminated. So there you go. That's enough politics there, unless you have some comments, which I would love to hear. I'm not really wearing a mask, says Boyd. Hi, Boyd. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings for a Saturday. I'm coming into the middle of a conversation. A lot of I think when I do content, a lot of it I'm doing for the replay crowd. You'll notice that if we end the show pulling something like 269 or something like that, and then tomorrow the show is 1,400, well, obviously the people that are watching the replay are not engaged in the back and forth conversation like when you get the live stream. So sometimes I feel like if I do content it's mostly geared, just like when I do a pre-recorded video, it's mostly geared at people that hear the show at another time, and they need to have something in there that'll make them want to watch for a while. So there you go. Have a pretty good, decent, good night, and I sleep well, says Patrick. So you don't have sleep apnea, Patrick? So many people, you go to a pulmonologist and they're going to say, you got it. You got it. I was told I had mild sleep apnea, but then again, my oxygen level is not what it should be. Thank you, Cheryl, for commenting on that. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. Tucker has always had that streak in him of going to the extreme, but some of his interviews that he does on topics are phenomenally good, and he's not afraid to do them. And but when you're doing an hour and 25 minutes with somebody, that limits your audience. They're not only a small segment of the real people that are really focused on the particular topic you're talking about will go that long. They won't. There's just too much to see. There's just too much going on in their life. Whereas, when he was on Fox, boom, there he was at 8 o'clock, and you knew it was going to be powerful and it was going to be well thought out. Sometimes you say, gee, I wish he had more than 3 or 4 minutes for an interview, but he had to be concise, and all that has kind of gone out the window. It's kind of gone out the window. But I have watched his long interviews, and I've watched a good portion of them, and still a Tucker fan. But sometimes, I don't think he would claim to be someone who's any kind of biblical authority. So most of the people that speak on television aren't. I'm not talking about David Jeremiah or whoever your favorite video preacher is. I am not a preacher. I just share as things come to me. So there's talk of let's do some Bob JOYCE content that, something big is on the horizon. And various people are saying that. Basically, people have a feeling that he is going to be led of the Lord to say more things and do more things that will bring more people into the church and bring more people into a venue when he goes that has a lot more seats than that. They would like to see the Bank OZK Arena filled to the brim. Anybody go that's watching me right now? How full was it? Was it just the floor seating? How much of the higher seats were filled and what have you? Hi, Jack. My favorite host. Well, you have very low standards then. Hello, everyone. Wave. Yeah. So with any teacher, I'm talking about a human being, you have to eat the meat and spit out the bones. You'll know how to separate it. So it is very interesting that Pastor Bob JOYCE is doing this Coleman, Alabama concert. I hope they're going to film it. No, I don't have a ticket. Well, that the my competition is possibly going to be working for George Magazine, and that will have an effect on what he says. It has to, because there'll be an expectation that you don't step over certain lines. Gene Ho if he does step over a line, he's joking. So you never know whether he's serious and what have you, or he is pretending to be joking, whatever you want to call it. But like everybody else, I just get the feeling that Pastor Bob knows his time is limited on this earth. Although God controls his next breath, he can live to 110 if it's the will of the Lord. If it's the will of the Lord, he wouldn't be the first human being to live to 110. Now they're talking about AI can play a role in extending someone's life. In fact, who was it that they caught on a hot mic? Oh yeah, Putin. And who else was he talking about? Putin would love to live forever. And I don't see any real Christian beliefs in him. I don't think you could bomb a school with children in it, give the order that that's okay, when they knew that they were going to bomb a place that would have a lot of children in it. I don't think you could call yourself a serious man of faith. But Putin has a chapel, in his house. He has a chapel in his house, and he thinks he's a good Christian man. He does. It's all, who knows? Well, it's only been one service, so we don't know. And I don't think we're going to have a look-see because the camera's not going to pan out there, So we don't know. And I feel that we're going to rely now. Someone that was here last week told me they were going tomorrow. So please, if you do go to the new church more than ever, I would love to have your perspective on your experience, what you noticed. Do you think everybody that wanted to get in got in and that kind of thing? So remember my email. I'll write it down here. If you're going, I really need to hear from you. I got very little input from George Magazine Live. It's like, although I saw a few people from my audience there, I saw them. They didn't tell me about their experience much. They really didn't. Do you feel it was sold out, George Magazine Live? Because when we saw a video of like the after party and stuff, the attendance didn't seem to be very high. And when the attendance is not high, that means you didn't book it right. You didn't book it right. You didn't have someone that would pull in people. That's a way to get Gene Ho mad at me, right? See, I just think, Katina, that when you get too close, you end up compromising your objectivity. You end up compromising your objectivity. People think because Pastor Bob is so loving and kind that he would relish seeing Jack Willard walk through the door. I don't think that's true. The best I've gotten is he doesn't care if you come. That's the best endorsement I've got. Obviously, I extended early on an invitation that if I was annoying him, that if there are things he would rather I not say and do, that all he had to do was video message me. And he never did. I don't think that we can just, we have to be careful in our analysis here. I don't think that's necessarily true at all. I don't want to have to pretend that he's happy that I'm there if he's not, and to get Karen there would be a major financial thing. She's not going to drive to Arkansas. She's not going to do it. And if I am in Arkansas, then I'm going to drive on to Texas. So that's very complicated. Not having her there is a real loss to me, it's a real loss. But it's something that he's a human being too, and he's he's got opinions too. The Pastor Bob you see on camera is not going to be exactly like the Pastor Bob you would see off camera, but I'm not saying that he's not the real thing. Well, you know about those microchips, they lead to the mark of the beast. Take the chip, take the mark, however the mark is intended. A lot of people think it's under the skin. And if you don't, you cannot buy or sell. You'll starve to death. I don't know. AI is, it could easily overtake us. It could overtake us. What do you guys think about that? Yes, I want a full report, Cheryl Chambers from Coleman, Alabama. Please, do you have VIP tickets? In other words, are you going to be able to do the meet and greet? And we're back. As I say, when you see the replay, you'll never notice it. They'll edit tightly so that it'll just look like I did a dramatic pause. But I got in on the meet and greet. Terrific. The Saturday spin was back for a few seconds. Did it make you dizzy, Neo? Did it make you dizzy? Well, that's great, Cheryl. So I really want to know about that. Yeah, but there are people that are, especially rich people, that are hoping that they can get in on, since they don't believe in God and eternal life, they want to just stay living by technology. And then they walk in front of a bus that has no driver, and there was a flaw in the system. We got all these driverless cars in Texas right now. Are there driverless cars where you are, Trish Terry? Where you are, Katina, Tammy? Do you have driverless cars running around? You want to step in front of a driverless car that is far enough away that it won't hit you? Would you feel comfortable doing that? Do you want to be going on a highway 70 miles an hour with a driverless car next to you? What's everybody feel about that? Do you want to get in a taxi that's a driverless taxi? And then it pulls right in front of an 18-wheeler? I don't know. I haven't really looked at the statistics on this. I know there has been accidents. Because all technology is flawed one way or another. So I don't want to be in a driverless car. I don't want to be really driving on the highway next to a driverless car. What are your thoughts? No George Magazine 2025, the live George Magazine live, was not sold out, says Tammy. It was a lot of folks that didn't show up until Sunday morning, which means they probably didn't pay for Friday, Saturday, because we were told, and I'm not trying to tick off Gene Ho here, but at the same point, I want to be independent, I don't want to have to compromise what may be the truth because I'll never get another interview again, that kind of thing. No George Magazine Live was not sold out. It was a lot of folks that didn't show up until Sunday morning. That's when the floor seats were filled. So there were hundreds and hundreds of seats that were not filled, the higher seats, right, Tammy? But they were available if they needed them. So, yeah, what we saw last year at the other place was that about 900 or so came. and there were still a few seats that looked to be available in the back. So, what's going on in the spirit of Bob Joyce? Is there something inside of him that's saying, Lord, are you telling me that you want me to fill all those seats and have lines outside? Is that what you're telling me? Is that your will for my life? Is that your will for my life? Of course, right away, the barn church is done. 250 some seats aren't going to do it. You got to go back to Hot Springs. So I don't know. I don't know. This is not an easy story to figure out. And then we could be wrong about the whole thing. And, you know, we have some of it wrong or all of it wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think so. What's this dying world coming to? Technology cannot replace what Jesus taught us. God provided everything we need. Trust. Well, of course, for unbelievers, they're going to think you're full of donkey dust. I mean, my God, your God. I think you'll understand what I'm doing here, Robin. Your God can't even stop kids praying in a church from being killed. Where is your God? How long are we going to have to go on pretending that there isn't something really wrong in your philosophy? He doesn't seem to protect his own people. He lets them be blown to bits. He lets missionaries be burned by gasoline on the mission field. He doesn't stop that. He doesn't send the angels. He doesn't do a thing about it. He doesn't do a thing about it. He lets the world go crazy. Everybody's mocking him from Jasmine Crockett to Warren to they're openly saying now, well, prayer obviously isn't the answer because those kids they probably they weren't praying at the time they were murdered. And have you been to St. Jude? Some of the kids make it. Some of the kids die horrible deaths. I thought he was not a respecter of persons. That everyone was equal in the sight of the Lord. But some kids die. Some kids are made well and healed. What's going on here? So the non-Christian can't figure out any of this. They can't figure out any of this, especially when it involves the children who are innocent. No, I'm saying from the perspective, Katina, of the world. That's how they say this. I just simply tell myself there are things I don't know. I can't figure it out. But I know that the Lord, one of the wildest things in my life is that despite the horror that I see happening to other people, including people that would be thought of as Christians, I've had so much grace from the Lord. I've had undeserved grace all my life, So I don't. I am nowhere near in the going towards losing my faith. I just don't know. I understand that this idea that we're tremendous revival is happening, maybe where you are, maybe in a particular church here and there, but no, I see more like, as the Bible says, we're in the time when everything is going down, down, down. That's what we hear. I think I have some scriptures. Yeah. Key Bible scriptures about the last days describes a time of difficult conditions, increasing knowledge, false religions, teachings, natural disasters, and wars before Jesus' return. And they refer to passages in Timothy 24:2, Timothy 3, 1 through 5, and then Peter and Daniel. The Bible describes several signs that will mark the last days. Difficult and perilous times. Conditions will be marked by strife, wickedness, and negative human behavior. So you could say this, to explain some of this, we're simply in the last days. False teachers and deceptions, many will turn from their faith, following demonic teachings, and false Christs will arise. Natural disasters, they're happening everywhere. There will be earthquakes, famines, pestilence, diseases, and other natural disturbances. We're seeing it every day. Wars and rumors of wars, conflicts on a global scale will be prevalent. See, we're in the last days. Increased knowledge. There will be a dramatic increase in the sum of worldly knowledge. There'll be persecution of Christians. Believers will face significant opposition and persecution. Matthew 24, 4 through 14, Jesus speaks of signs of the end, including false Christs, wars, famines, earthquakes, and the preaching of the gospel to all nations. Let's go to some actual biblical verses. 2 Timothy 3, verses 1 through 5. But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty, for people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unpeaceable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen, with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness, but denying its power. I'm surprised it even says having the appearance of godliness. Avoid such people. 2 Peter 3, verses 3 through 4, knowing this, first of all, that scoffers will come in the last days with scoffing, following their own sinful desires. They will say, where is the promise of his coming? See, this is what I was just alluding to, that people would say, for ever since the fathers fell asleep, all things are continuing as they were from the beginning of creation. Luke 21, verses 25 through 26. And there will be signs in sun and in moon and stars, and on earth distress of nations, in perplexity because of the roaring of the sea. Oh, wow. And the waves, people fainting with fear and with foreboding of what is coming on the world. For the powers of the heavens will be shaken. The very times we live in 2025. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean. No matter what, I'm on Team Jesus. I profess he is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but through me. I suppose I do. And I don't know why he doesn't chastise the mockers, because they really pull people away from a born again experience, from coming to Christ. Back in the Old Testament times, he seems like he, for lack of a better term, did a lot of instant karma. You paid a price in real time for disobeying the Lord. And now it seems that people mock to their heart's content. And I don't understand. Why somebody could be torturing a child and they not face the immediate wrath of God. That's me being truthful. That's true. You need to regularly renew your mind with the world, with the word, with the word. But we are pulled in lots of different directions, aren't we, Neo? We all have our favorite this and we have our favorite that. Food pulls us away. Entertainment pulls us away. Travel pulls us away. It's okay to get out there and see the beautiful creation, but some people, they want to be on the road traveling all the time, and then show up at a Christmas Eve service. Jack, if enough people believe Bob Joyce was Elvis, that barn church wouldn't begin to hold them. I am not convinced E is gone, but we will see one day. Well, he has international travelers from sometimes 9 countries or more coming to this little church in Arkansas. So I think it's very possible. And as I say, if it doesn't happen, then the Lord is directing it in a way that is incredible. If they don't have to start turning people away at the door because they don't have an overflow room, that will be the precise hand of God, which He is certainly capable of. But you've had 100 people in the overflow room at the old church, and some of them came from a long distance, and they didn't get to be in the church sanctuary. Oh, I definitely believe it's a time when the prophecy that's written in the Holy Bible is being fulfilled. Absolutely, we see it now. Yeah. Um, Thank you, Jesus, for our daily bread and breath. Exactly. Exactly. What does Todd have to say? I'm glad you're still with us, Tennessee Titan. Prayer for sure is serious business. I assume to think when this story is done, we might regret not praying more. Absolutely agree with that. Oh, so much wasted time. David Cassidy's last words, and he did a lot of things, but his last words were so much wasted time. Pray more than we did. Then knowing just how powerful prayer is when all is revealed. Interesting you should say that, because as I was talking to my therapist just yesterday, I mentioned my daughter again, and he said, well, um, pray fervently, because um, if you're serious about your prayer, then you know that God changes things. God changes things. Prayer is not a little ritual you do at the end of the day, after a day when you've done all the other things that you enjoy so much, and now you give God 2, 3, 5 minutes at the end of the day. That's not a real prayer life, and I'm preaching to myself. So yeah, regrets, Todd? I've got a bazillion. I've got a bazillion. And, it's going to get worse. And I'm not at all convinced that we're going to miss it all. I'm a mid-tribber, Katina. I think we're already in the pre-trib. I think we are. So, you know, it is hard to type. Yeah, I find that too. I'm always going back and correcting something. I'm guilty of not praying enough, says Elaine. I'm guilty of not praying enough. I'm guilty of a bazillion things. And that really disturbs me tremendously. Yeah. The power of addictions. They are formidable. They are formidable when you've been doing them for decades, when you've been doing them for decades. I remember a couple of elders at the church, we were at the diner after probably a Tuesday night prayer and Bible study, and two great men of God, both are gone now, both have gone to be with the Lord. One was passionately talking about food and how they were from Jamaica, so the food was really good there and everything. And the other elder, who was Indian, who certainly likes the Indian dishes and whatever, and says, "You know that gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins, right?" Gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins. And so it's easy to get swept away in one thing or another. Uh, it's just true. Tammy's in the middle of a thought here. Let's see if I can get the first part. Must be way back. Um, because the non-believers do not understand he gave us free will and warned us that the devil has dominion here for a period of time. Um, I I'm thinking about what you're saying. I don't think that God is ever powerless to step in and change something. I don't think he gave that power up to the devil, but he did give permission, in a sense, for the devil to uh, to separate the wheat from the chaff, you know. And but in terms of something like healing, I think God does heal today. And I'm just a little bit surprised when he lets something stand, especially the mocking and scoffing that's going on. Although it says there would be scoffing in the last days. Good night, Cheryl Chambers. Thank you for being here. The great falling away. That's where we're at. But how many people? I always used to say. It's not that I'm backsliding because I was never up the hill to begin with. You know what I mean? I've had my moments. I've had my moments of success when I was happy that I was going through at least a time of obedience and that I was praying fervently and that kind of thing. But yeah, the great falling away, but also um, there's um, there's how many people become mature Christians in their lifetime, how many people reach maturity level, and how many die baby Christians. It's a very complicated subject, and it's certainly not one that I'm going to be able to nail down. Um, but it is going to get worse. That's been on your mind. Pray, 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 says Todd. Yeah. Um, I just, as I've said before, if God was a large New York pizza with peppers and mushrooms on it, I could definitely prove my loyalty to that. Can I prove my loyalty as a soldier of Christ? No. Pray without ceasing. Well, what does that mean? Um, be in an attitude of prayer. If we're in an attitude of prayer, we probably won't watch too many movies, right? We probably won't watch too many TV shows. Um, we probably won't be thinking all the time about going to the buffet, the Chinese buffet or whatever. We won't be too consumed with traveling unless it's a trip, that God is leading us to do. Good night. God bless and prayers to everyone. I'm glad Karen is doing good. Thank the Lord. I just saw Domino's is selling a New York pizza. Well, the nerve, the nerve. Um, I haven't seen that ad yet. So if we got too close to the edge, I'm sorry. what I'm just trying to do is speak from the perspective, play devil's advocate. What is the unsaved person, the person that was never taught anything about Christianity? Their family was as godless, their mother and father was as godless can be. What are they thinking? I've often said, if you're if you were brought up by, say, millennial parents that never really parented and said, well, you've got to respect their boundaries and this, that, and other, and scold their parents when they try to say something to their grandchildren. If you're dealing with that kind of thing, um, um, if you give them too much rope, they may hang themselves with it. And you play a role in that. Don't forget to wrap a wet towel around your head. So, is this the one from talking to Neo? Yeah, is this the one from Back to Ghostbusters 2? Don't know who that is. Of course, God can intervene, but then do we have free will? He gave Satan dominion for a time. It's in the Bible. Okay, but you're leaning on that part. And then we got to look at all the other scriptures, We have to look at all the other scriptures. We can find a lot of people that feel that they were healed by God. Sometimes they feel a pastor is being used to heal someone. And sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. But these are all areas that I've already decided I'm never going to figure out completely. And when I am listening to God, he's never telling me to try to figure that out completely. He's trying to get me to walk closer with him. So that's what I got to be doing as I approach 70 years old. That's why I said I'm not going to be looking for I'm not going to go down certain investigative holes in the Bob Joyce story, because I know that if I find something salacious, it's going to get plenty more views than if I just say, congrats, Pastor Bob, for your first service at the new church. You know what I mean? So, but so be it. Because I have to think more and more, what is my standing, my personal standing with the Lord Jesus Christ. I don't mind admitting that there's things that I don't know about. I don't mind that. Yeah, she didn't show up, Jackie Organ. What a bummer. She came here and took a look at the place. She saw the thumbnail, right? And she said she would try to be here tonight, or she would come on September 31st. So I guess that means we can look forward to seeing her on September 31st. I'm just waiting for one person to say there is no September 31st. I'm just waiting. I know that, did we read that before on air, Todd? Job 14:5, I think we did. Neo is rolling out a lot of puns, and he's very creative. So, 64 watching, 42 likes. If you haven't checked in, let us know where you are watching. Thank you, Todd Bradshaw, for hitting the Cash App for $25 for kitty treats and chow. Yeah, well, now we're getting into a tug of war with the boys next door. because they're wanting to trap them so they can be properly fixed and stuff. Because their father, we call him Tabby, is still around. Usually they don't hang around, but the reason Daddy is hanging around so much is that he knows he's going to get fed here. He knows it's guaranteed that he's going to get fed here a couple of times a day. You know, sometimes just dry and sometimes a can. So he's hanging around, and sometimes we see him hanging around with his kids because they're living under the, where the shed where the the lawnmower and snowblower is and everything like that. So he's hanging around, and we're afraid that as those kittens get a little older, you know, we've got to get those. The guys next door are setting this part up. We played a hand in getting Mom fixed, so Tabby wouldn't keep getting her pregnant, because next we're going to have kittens born in the winter, and you don't want that here in New York. So thank you for those kitty treats and chow, because it is a part of the budget. It really is. We have our own cat, Willie Loomis, and then we feed. But we've been asked not to, because now the traps are going to be coming. And they're going to put the food in the traps, and they're not going to get caught. They want them to be, assured that everything is cool. And then eventually they will. But what if Tabby gets trapped with one of his kids? Well, he's not used to being confined. He's going to go crazy. Bad things can happen here. So I don't know, but that's on their end. So they were talking to Karen, especially one of them. You can't be feeding those kittens on your side, especially down there close to where we feed them. You can't be doing that, because they'll get confused, and they won't go in the traps to get fixed, rabies shot, and defleed and all that, and then thrown right back here. I know Karen's going to want to take one or two of them. I know. But once they're feral, it's hard. They already learned the feral way. And same thing with Mom. Next door, they want to bring Mom inside and put her in solitary confinement. And she's not going to like that. She's not going to like that. Not at all. Thank you very much, Todd. Thank you, June Joyner. Thank you, Tammy Griffin. Thank you, Elaine Peterson, and thank you, Tim Spencer, for hitting the Cash App. I really appreciate that. And thank you, those of you that hit the thanks button, including Sam Semi, Hockey 92. Thank you, Hockey 92, very, very much. And also... yeah, it only lets me go back so far. What am I doing wrong? No, that goes the other way. Try this way. No. Thank you for all those that hit the thanks button. I really, really appreciate that on tonight's Worldwide Ramblings. So what I was trying to say is that in summary, is that we're not going to have a kumbaya world. You can't expect that. You're not going to bring someone like J.D. Vance and Jasmine Crockett together. There's a move afoot in this country, in the progressive side, that they don't care about the sanctity of life. They don't care about protecting women's sports. They're willing to have young boys chemically castrated, which is not reversible, ruin women's sports, no privacy for women in the locker room or teenage girls, etc., etc. And they want to turn America. They hate America. They want to turn it into what they think is good, which has no real moral standards whatsoever. So they are not of God, and you can't expect that there's going to be some uh, brotherly uniting, the scripturing brothers and sisters coming together. They want nothing to do with God, and they want nothing to do with his people. So I guess I'm saying if you want to become a speaker that could be called a legitimate good teacher, it's not going to be easy. It involves a tremendous amount of prep, a tremendous amount of prep. Sometimes I can ad lib and be happy with what I said. And sometimes I can feel that if I had prepared more, it would have been better, you know. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. This is Galatians chapter 5, verse 1 in the NIV. Mark my words, I, Paul, tell you that if you let yourselves be circumcised, Christ will be of no value to you at all. Meaning, it's not the law that's going to save you, it's the blood of Christ. You are trying to be justified by the law, having been alienated from Christ. You have fallen away from grace. But by faith, we eagerly await through the Spirit the righteousness for which we hope. For in Christ Jesus, neither is there circumcision nor uncircumcision. It doesn't have any value. The only thing that counts is faith, is expressing itself through love. That's right. Faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. And that's the kind of thing that the Lord tells me about, not whether when the tribulation will be, not whether I speak in tongues or I don't speak in tongues, not which preacher is best, but it's listening to that still small voice of the Holy Spirit. Prayers for peace. Certainly would love to see that. I don't know if that's what we read in the Bible, though, you know. We see wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes, and, it will be getting worse. I think we talked about that Wednesday night, Jackie. I just think that's an AI ripoff. If anyone was in the sanctuary and saw him actually sing that song, please email me at jackthefairguy@gmail.com. jackthefairguy@gmail.com. Hi, Paul Bennett and family. I missed you. Get that cat to start praying. This IV-D kitty support, and he'll stop messing around. Yeah, Debbie likes to mess around. He's very set in his ways, we find. Skittish, though. Skittish. So anyway, Jackie, there's so many ripoffs there. The whole Bob Joyce DNA thing is obviously fake. They take a part of the Gene Ho interview, put somebody else other than Gene's voice in there, and just, I know this is all of a sudden, but are you Elvis? Now, come on, that's the Gene Ho interview. Of course, that whole thing is fake. That's fake. Fake, 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 fake. You know? And then, of course, without any proof at all, they just announce to you that it's that the Bob Joyce DNA is is the DNA of Elvis without any proof. And then they go into the standard stuff that this AI voice has said many times before. So I think they took a song that is fairly recent where he's hunched over with a guitar, and they through AI, CGI, however you want to say it, they made it look. They started playing Elvis singing "Love Me Tender," and it's not real. It's not real. Um, yes, there have been times sitting at the piano after a luncheon when he has sang an Elvis song. First, it was "Can't Help Falling in Love" for Willina, and then it was "The Wonder of You," "The Wonder of You." So there is that. Darlene, I did see you early on, but I never saw a real comment from you, Darlene. What's going on with you? What's going on with Darlene Koberstein? Yeah, we got a real zoo sometimes. In the past, we've had a real zoo, Todd. I mean, it used to be an inside zoo, and then there's always been pharaohs, though, that come here. Word gets out. Interestingly, they seem to tell their neighborhood pharaoh, their buddy, hey, there's food over there at the Yellow House. It's just my feeling, Jackie. As far as I know, it's fake. We're talking about instruments. Is this in the new sanctuary, boy? I don't know. I don't feel too good about this one, Helen. I hope I didn't. I hope I didn't confuse people in saying that I'm just trying to tell you that how unsaved people would look at it. And I pray that I am saved, and I'm not questioning the existence of God, and I'm not backing away. All my eggs are in one basket, the basket of Jesus Christ. I've never seen another set of beliefs that I've never seen anything as rich as this Word of God. Never. Never. Not that I understand everything in it. Not that sometimes I don't see, gee, that sounds like a contradiction, or even why did God do that, or why did God allow that? But that's okay. I don't have to know everything. That's what messed up Adam and Eve. They wanted to know everything. I'm sorry to hear you're not feeling good, Darlene. Because as I say, if you don't have your health, that's a big, seeing all the suffering that Karen has gone through, and she's such a trooper, and she still seems to enjoy life through it. It's Hi, John Paul Cunningham. How are you? I love that name. This seems to me like you should have a talk show. I got to spend a whole lot more time in the Word of God, John Paul. I do. So you're coming in at the tail end. We're up to the 2-hour mark. And of course, then here's Vinny at the tail end. Oh dear. Howdy, sorry, just got home from work. Vinny is working to the late hours. Wow. That's unusual for you on a Saturday night, no? I'm at work right now. Technically, it's true. I'm an influencer. Did I influence anybody tonight? Did I digitally create anything tonight? I don't know. We just have this is a kind of show where we just kind of lay back, and people love to visit with each other and what have you. And that's cool. That's cool. It's not all about Bob Joyce, But if you are going to the church, please, I need a sense of what's going on in terms of capacity and what have you. Um, we're all wondering what God is going to lead Bob Joyce to do. I think that's a fair statement. We're all wondering what God is going to choose him, choose for him. Obviously, if God led him to convert what was supposed to be a horse barn, it never happened, into a church, then that might indicate that God is not going to instruct Pastor Bob to do something that would instantly make that church um, full to capacity 5 minutes after they open the doors and beyond. It would become like Black Friday, right? Remember, people would start fist fights in the middle of the night when Black Friday at Walmart used to start after midnight. They'd be there. One would have one part of the box with the flat screen TV, and they'd be a tug of war, and then fist fights would break out, and all that kind of thing. So that's something to add to the thought box too. Why would Bob have him build the barn if it was quickly going to become too small? So this is what I want to know from the people who go. Please let me know. Todd, fire up the truck, will you? Todd and Vinny are visiting, and I'm going to give them a chance to do it. Did you work hard, Vinny? I don't know what you do, and you don't have to tell me, but I don't even know what age you are. I put ages in my mind like everybody is 60 and over. Then I find out that's not true. Blaine Harold, Bob won't put up with that. Won't put up with what? He always said that, he's open to whatever God's plan is. So, but he's vague in any more. Had dinner with Sydney Sweeney, or do you know a Sydney? He says, yes, I had dinner with Sydney Sweeney. So we've got to get her saved, right? If she's a Republican, we got to get her to the cross. Because I always work hard, just back to work. I see. So you were out on comp? Okay. Had dinner with Sydney. Oh, Jack and Todd. Oh, yes, the blood moon. Karen talks about this stuff a lot. Sunday night, the blood moon. What am I supposed to feel about it, Sandra? Because maybe you can give me tips that would make Karen feel that I really appreciate the blood moon. I just say it's, I always have the same conversation with her, to be honest. Oh, it's beautiful, but don't praise the creation. Praise the creator who made it. You don't have to look at the stars, although it's nice to look at the stars. You don't have to look at the stars. You can look to the man who made those stars, to the God, I should say. So you had surgery too, huh? Okay. Yeah. So many people have had surgery. I have a really close friend that just had open heart surgery a couple of days ago. And I don't have any permission to mention any names, but just had open heart surgery a couple of days ago and is doing fine. And I'm hoping they make a full recovery. Hoping they make a full recovery. So I've been definitely praying for that person for the last few days, And I have cardiomyopathy. Some of my arteries are blocked, but not enough that they would do anything about it. And so, my dad died of a heart attack when I was 11 years old. Who is Sydney? Some people thought Sydney Sweeney was going to be hosting tonight. I don't know why they thought that. Maybe they saw a previous promo I did earlier tonight. Okay, there it is. I finally found it, Vinny. I thought your first one was sorry, Jack. Sydney Sweeney visited me today. Oh my goodness. That's why she didn't come here then at work, and we had dinner. She told me to apologize to you because she couldn't be in two places at once. That's right. It was a couple of days ago when she came here to see the studio, sit in the chair and said, "I've never been in such a dump, but you know, you seem like a nice guy and you're not hitting on me. So I'm okay. I'll come and host a show." This is all just joking. It's not lying. There's a difference. There's a difference. Wait till you see the next thumbnail for this show, huh? Wait till you see it. Oh, dear. Do you like your job, Vinny? Do you can you not wait to get there, or can you not wait to retire? It's one or the other, probably, right? I know you're teasing. Yes, I know. I I think you could be considerably younger than me, but I don't think you're as young as Sydney Sweeney. Oh, you did see it. Okay, good. And we have already thanked Neo for that thumbnail. That's the talent of Neo. And if you want to see more of the talent of Neo, you just have to wait a few minutes after I say goodnight, and you'll see more of the talent of Neo. I promise. I promise. How long were you out with your surgery? How long did you stay recovering? Jack, did you show the pictures of me? Oh, yes, you. You. I did want to show Blaine. Thank you for reminding me. I was all set to do it, but if I don't write something down and then look at what I wrote, um, so I definitely want to do that. You remind me of sort of a little like Dane Cook. A little bit of everybody reminds me of somebody, and you kind of remind me a little bit of Dane Cook. Can I see it without having to print your name in? Yep. And somebody else besides Dane Cook, maybe even more. So all I can do now, since I forgot to put these in my phone, is do a picture in real time and hope for the best. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Blaine Harold and Pastor Bob Joyce. Yeah, I'm getting a glare. That's why I do it in a pre-recorded video. Why didn't I remember that in the promo? Sometimes I find a sweet spot. That's horrible. I'll do it in a pre-recorded video. Try the other one. Come on. Give me a break. I never understand why some work and some don't. Washed out. And I mean, I can turn off the light and it'll still be like that. I know it. Let me try this light. Yeah. So we're gonna have to do it in a pre-recorded video, or I could have Andy come and edit them in. I can do that too. If I need to, I will. I'm not usually home on Saturdays. I got home late. I'm not usually home on Saturdays. Well, that's right, because you've been out and now you're back to work. Shannon Louder, Bob Dylan has a version of The House of the Rising Sun. It's pretty good. Well, that's an out of the blue comment. I wonder when he did that, Shannon. The earlier Dylan voice is better than the later Dylan voice. I think they use some tricks. Sorry, Blaine. I will get that into a pre-recorded video. Jackie, what's your favorite Elvis movie? Jackie's here? I don't think you mean me. You mean Jackie Organ. Okay. He was 20 years old from what I hear. Well, that's prime Dylan. That's prime Dylan right there. So, yeah, good. Vinny is 58. Just a young buck. I'm 58 if you didn't see it, Jack. I didn't. Sorry. So you got a ways to go, don't you? Yeah. You got a ways to go. I'll make it up to you, Blaine. I swear I will. See, when I do it in a pre-recorded video and it doesn't work, you never see it. You never see the failure if I do it live. Watch for the blood moon. You like the blood moon too, Todd, huh? But do you like a Bloody Mary? Are you ever in need of a Bloody Mary? Are you ever in need of one because you have a love hangover? By Diana Ross at 92 Rock 7. I have heard Little Town of Bethlehem to the tune of The House of the Rising Sun. Only you would come up with a comment like that, Neo. Really? Okay. I remember 58, Vinny. I remember 58. Time goes fast. I mean, when I came here, I was 54 and Karen was 53. Now I'm 69, be 70 in March, and Karen will be 68 on Monday. Oh, dear, I'm glad I remembered this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my beloved Karen. Happy birthday to you. I think in this time of being like her caretaker, we have grown somewhat closer. I think she realizes that, he's not going to run away. He's not going to run away. No, I mean, obviously the frustration of we must stay in New York. She'd like to actually move too. She'd like to move to Maine. I said, well, Maine is fine 5 months of the year, but those other 6 or 7 months, I don't know if I want to be in Maine, We both love to have 2 homes, but I don't think that'll be happening in our lifetime. Blaine says, well, I'm 50 pounds lighter now. God bless you. I lost 50 pounds since that picture. Cool. How did you do it? Drinking got me through chemo. Oh, well, there's an honest statement. That's an honest statement. I like that. As long as you don't drink too much, because drinking can give you open heart surgery. Too much drinking. Drinking can mess with everything. But drinking, at a reasonable pace. They say 1 beer a day is okay, but I know you want to get buzzed. I had a little bit of the alcohol last night. I had a vodka sour, and I said to her, please light on the vodka. She didn't listen. Karen had her first drink, cranberry and vodka. We're a vodka duo, I tell you. She likes the wine, that white wine. Magasco, what do you call it? That one. I have to buy her a bottle of that for her birthday and other things, because her birthday is Monday, 68 years old. Thank you so much, Robin Roman. Thank you very, very much. When I ask her, what do you want to do on your birthday? It's always the same thing. It's always get some food somewhere and bring it back here. She's thinking about Andy, and I'm thinking, well, she says, Adams, Fairacre Farms, has lobster rolls. Okay. And you want to bring them back here, of course. Really appreciate you, Jack. Thank you for staying in the game, and love how how you boldly give honor back to God. Inspiring sleep. Well, nice birthday song. Good voice. I don't know about that. Happy birthday, Karen. Thank you so much, John Paul Cunningham. I think you've got a novel in you. You can't have a name like that and not write your book. Yes, Jack, I track the moon phases, not in a new age way. Isaiah 64:23, and an encouraging verse from that, one of many. Isaiah 66:23. Okay. I mean, it's Isaiah that so boldly first told us about the coming of Jesus, right? Come on, man. I will get there, I promise. Isaiah 66:22 and 23. Big print means more pages. Believe me, I need big print. As the new heavens and the new earth that I make will endure before me, declares the Lord, so will your name and descendants endure. From one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, all mankind will come and bow down before me, says the Lord. And they will go out and look upon the dead bodies of those who rebelled against me. Their worm will not die, nor will their fire be quenched. That's a powerful scripture right there. And they will be loathsome to all mankind. Oh, there's scary things in the Bible, isn't there? And so that is the scripture. Thanks for reading it, Jack. You're on overtime. Well, I wanted to give those who came on late. We had 2 or 3. I wanted to give them a chance, 66, 22, and 23. Yeah. Wouldn't mind a 58th Plymouth Fury or a Belvedere or a Cadillac. I always wanted Jimmy Sturr's Cadillac. He gave it up too. He went to a BMW convertible with it's a candy apple red with, I think, a white interior. Yep. It's not something he would ride in the winter, though, I don't think. But he used to have a candy apple red Cadillac with a white interior. And that, too, was a convertible with gold spoke wheels. And I said, I want that car. I didn't covet it, but I said, gee, it would be nice to have that car. Yes. I actually ran in I worked at Honda with someone who had actually sold him that car when he worked for Cadillac. So, he got every extra you could imagine, I believe. What was from Wayne's World? And he says, "I went without a paycheck almost 2 months from being off. I'm ready to go back to work." Wow. I love overtime and the pay's good. Yeah, my son loves the overtime, but the job he could do without. It's a tough world. The trucking world is a tough gig, so to speak. And I try to keep his spirits up. I try to keep his spirits up, but it's tough. It's uh, it's tough. Tammy is the Bible describes Satan as having a form of dominion or influence over the whole world, and as the the god of this age. This dominion is presented as temporary and allowed by God, originating from the disobedience of Adam and Eve and the choices of humanity to rebel against God. However, God remains the ultimate authority, and Satan's power is limited and subordinate to God's. Yes. And she tells more. How much she wants me to tell, I don't know. But I don't disagree with what you wrote. I don't disagree with what you wrote. Um, we see in the Old Testament times, of course, that God's anger would rise up. And I'm therefore shocked when something hideous happens to children and God's anger doesn't rise up or his healing power doesn't rise up for the child. But that's just in the category of things I just don't understand with my very limited brain power and my, you know, um, God's divine and I'm not. That's the easiest way to say it. And Vinny is driving something that would have made Burt Reynolds proud, I think. Oh, and the verse just ahead of it. I didn't see that. I like the bandit's car. Of course you would. Of course you would. A speedy car. Yeah. I wanted a Mach 1 Mustang back in the 70s myself. I never got it. I never got my Mach 1 Mustang. 80 Trans. These days, what do I want? I want a full-size Audi. I want a full-size Audi, cream color, please, with a brown camel leather interior. I am describing the exact car that the guy who owned the Pepsi in Newburgh drove. And I'd be the lowly security guard working part-time because I was a full-time peace officer, but there was no overtime. So I had to do a separate gig. I had a family to feed, 2 kids. And so I'm doing that. And I would go buy this car and I would just stand there. I didn't look at this Audi. And the only prettier Audi I ever saw happened about back in March or so when we were on a Sunday going up to the Catskills to do our routine, and maybe April, because I knew the what we call the YouTube shirts would be coming in. Not this, but the Hawaiian shirts, they would be coming in. So the routine is to go up to Wombo Buffet on a Sunday and then go over to Walmart. Nice day, come home. But on the way up, we're just approaching Bloomingburg. I look in my rearview mirror and this looks like a brand new model. I haven't seen this one before. Black with the silver trim of a beautiful Audi. And I'm saying, wow, this is even cooler than the Pepsi guy had. Full size, of course, shiny black. But boy, this driver is reckless in and out of traffic as they're somewhat behind me. And I see that. And by the time they come up to me, I think it's a guy. This is all in a video that only certain people have watched. I think it's a guy driving. But when they come up alongside of Karen and I, they can't go any further because the car in front of them is blocking the way. So they're going to be riding with me for a little bit. And I look over and whoa, this is 10 and a half. This woman, I mean, the flowing blonde hair, the flowing dress to the nine, designer sunglasses. And I look at her and I'm feeling that I know her. I'm feeling that I know her, but I just haven't gotten it yet. And finally, she's able to. The car moves over, and she's able to speed up. And she must have went up what we call Wurtsboro Mountain, 85 miles an hour. Nobody was following her home, I tell you that. And but I know the face, and I just couldn't place it. And then the next day, Karen's reading a news item, says, "You know that actress you like? You know, she's living up in Sullivan County now. She's living up in Sullivan County. They bought a beautiful home, and they're actually going to raise their kids. Her and her husband are going to raise their kids up in Sullivan County. Amanda Seyfried has moved to Sullivan County." And then I knew that that's who I saw. By any shadow of a doubt. I did some research real quick. She has like 3 Audis. She has a couple of Teslas. She's so rich, you know. And but I fear for her driving because she was going too fast, no directionals, in and out of traffic. Scared me. And I am a big Amanda Seyfried fan, so I hope that she's being more careful. Being more careful. On occasion, we take out the Pearl Cadillac 2002 with super low miles because we keep it parked in the garage. So we just learned Robin's got money. Let's see here. I'm not sure that's too bad a language. That's, I don't think anybody will freak out about that. Bandit's car has a Firebird logo on the hood. Yeah, well, Burt Reynolds, loved doing those films. And fell in love deeply with Sally Field. But as Burt Reynolds would later admit to, he never really realized and never really cherished enough when he was blessed with somebody like Sally Field. Her politics may be lousy, but she is Sally Field, and I think we've all adored her at one time or another. And they would end up breaking up. But as a tearful Burt Reynolds would tell Barbara Walters in an interview when she assumed it was Diana Shore that was the love of his life. So, no, she was a great woman who was a great mentor to me. Loved her, it's true. But, well, who was the love of your life? And he said, it was always Sally. Ever since I met her, it was always Sally. But I lost her. And it was my fault. It's my fault. Well, about an hour and 32 minutes, and I still have dishes to do. This is why I get up at 11 o'clock in the morning, Is he more partial to a pink Cadillac? Neo. It's not like I don't know what you're inferring, I heard that Aretha Franklin song too. There was more innuendo in that song by the Queen of Soul than in some R-rated movies I've seen. Oh dear. Oh, really? You showed him that car, huh? Interesting. Interesting. But you didn't use the E word, or you didn't try to be any slicker than that, I hope, did you? Don't use the E word at Household of Faith, but please tell me about your experience at the new Household of Faith and the new location, the barn. The barn. Very curious about that. So look for Neo's thumbnail. That's coming up as soon as I get it loaded for this video. We'll be back with you Wednesday night, if God should allow. I want to thank everybody that stopped by tonight. Nice audience. We had a good time. And we'll do this again on Wednesday, maybe a pre-recorded video before that. Paul Bennett, his car had the fire chicken on the hood. Had the fire chicken on the hood because it was a Firebird Trans Am. I got to take a look at that, see what you're talking about. Huh. By the way, I gotta close with if Dark Shadows is my most favorite show of all times, which ran for 5 years. My favorite nighttime show of all times has just completed. It's do you count the prequel? If you count the prequel, it's 16 seasons, but I don't think I count the prequel. So it's just completed season 15. Dexter Resurrection has blown the gates off of Showtime. And it better have, because they pay Michael C. Hall a whole lot of money. In 2005, 2006, around the time he got lymphoma cancer, and he's a cancer survivor. The chemo worked and whatever, and he's a survivor. Around the time he was doing season 5 of Dexter, they were paying him on Showtime $830,000 per episode. So now he's obviously getting $1 million. That's a lot of subscribers. I don't know how this works because you got to pay the other actors too, But these last 10 episodes were very well written. There was a little bit of in there that I would rather not have seen. I didn't miss Deb because I could never stand her use of God's name in vain, and with the frequency that she would use it, I didn't miss that. I loved her. I didn't even know that she and Michael C. Hall were married for 3 years, 2008 to 2011, something like that. Anyway, it was powerful, these 10 episodes, and they didn't leave you with a cliffhanger. He's already signed for multiple seasons of Dexter. They wanted to make it clear to the fans, we will not kill him off again and have to bring him back to life almost, Dexter Resurrection. Don't worry, he's coming back. Probably by February, he'll be taping again, and you'll see it next summer. But he just does his big kill of the episode of this series, throws the remains into the water. He's right in front of the Statue of Liberty. Dexter, Michael C. Hall, and he's in this guy's yacht, which is, I don't know how many millions of dollars this yacht would have cost, but it was the most beautiful yacht I've ever seen. And he's mulling over in his thought process that he's finally coming to terms with it all, that he's not going to wish that he could get away from this. And he says that at the last words he says, he's looking away from camera, of course, and he says, I'm Dexter Morgan. And then he says, he looks right into camera, which I know is something they don't do very often. He looks right into camera and says, And that's exactly who you want me to be. And he gets that silly grin on his face. That was pretty powerful. That was. Have a great Sunday, everybody. Jack Willard here. Love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in to Worldwide Ramblings. Check out Neo's artwork. I'll have it up in just a few. Or it'll take a little longer because we did crash and it may not reset right away. Bye-bye.